Aztec warriors in battle would often wound an opponent rather than kill him in order to capture him and bring him back for human sacrifice. It is widely believed that many of their wars were motivated by the need to gather more victims and as a way of intimidating neighboring states. They would normally kill these victims by the use of a sacred sacrificial dagger, as it was believed their blood would give life to the sun, each drop slowly reviving it in order to give it the strength to rise again each and every day. A freshly cut out heart would then be placed by the priest in a stone vase and offered to the sun when it consumed or was eaten by the high priest.
Ja zašto Azte širi srce i ja se isporučaš, zašto mi jede srce? Nije zajebavi creepy, jeste? Gledajte ovaj video, nemojte gledati nego kako pravi. Ja ne znam zašto ima sam rekao tako lepo. I da malo su Azgeti, malo su loši, ali jesu loši što ubiju ljudi i ga jede srce, malo je prekripi.
Organ would be held up high for all to see. The very center of the Aztec religious world was the Great Temple, which was an impressive twin shrines on top, one for Tlaloc, the god of rain, and the other for Huitzilopochtli, the god of war. It was situated in the Aztecs' capital city of Tenochtitlan, which is New Mexico City today. Here, countless human sacrifices were carried out by the high priests. Normally, the heart of the victim was ripped out, and then the corpse was beheaded, dismembered, and then the lifeless body was thrown down the steps of the temple to fall 180 feet to the base of the pyramid below. The heads of the sacrifice were then put on skull racks at the base of the temple. This sacrifice was a mythical reenactment of the story of the sun and war god Huitzilopochtli, who took his sister, the moon goddess Coyolxauhqui, dismembered her body, and then threw her down Huatopetl, the sacred serpent mountain. In the reenactment, the steps of the temple doubles for the serpent mountain. Most sacrifices at the Great Temple were prisoners of war or slaves, but also children were sacrificed as their tears were deemed to be linked to Tlaloc, god of rain. These traditions went on for hundreds of years, until March 1519, when a Spaniard by the name of Hernan Cortez, heading a small expedition, invaded the Aztec Empire. Within 2 years, the Aztec Empire had crumbled, conquered by the Spanish, and its population decimated by smallpox. With this and the arrival of Christian missionaries and their powerful backers, many of the Aztec ways and rituals of human sacrifice were confined to the pages of history, once and for all. But occasionally, despite the Spanish invaders trying to eradicate this practice and all monuments to it, some artifacts have still survived to this day, including ceremonial skull towers and skull racks. Subscribe and click the notification bell for more history video.
But to be honest, that's kind of better. Like, the people that try and just recreate
I ovdje ste znali da njihov grad ne reci, ne znamo zašto. Jeste oni možda čudni i da. I tako izgleda tako njihov grad. To možete znati na reci. I to po legendama, ne znamo zašto. I to zna znali da taj grad je legenda. On je na reci. Eldorado. To je jedino ja jučer rekao.
Hold them to grid plan. This was a very ordered, very
Welcome back. 70. Bap and Black. Number 7. Mari. You might not have heard of Mari, but Mari was a magnificent ancient city that changed our modern understanding of the Mesopotamian Empire. Mari was ahead of its time in many aspects, and in 2400 BC, it was the largest city in the world. Mari was the trade capital of Mesopotamia, and it's believed that Mari was the world's first planned-out city. No one knows for sure where the people who planned out and populated the city came from, but there is evidence to support that Mari did not simply evolve from a small town or village the way other ancient cities did. Mari had a two-ring defense system. The outer ring defended against natural disasters like floods, and the inner ring defended against attacks. Mari also had one of the earliest forms of plumbing, which was a complex drainage system. As such, Mari is one of the first examples in history of complex urban planning. Furthermore, in the 1930s, 25,000 tablets were unearthed from Mari. These tablets were a combination of economic reports, personal activity, including Euclid, laying out the perimeter for what was 20,000 residents. Women, slaves, and people not born to Athenian parents could not vote, but many citizens were given a power that was previously unheard of in any other ancient city: the power to decide the future of their state. Number 2.